Mic test. Testing the mic. Mic test. Testing. Microphone. Yeah, we're having technical difficulties today. I keep seeing a hitch, a hang up every now and then. It wouldn't be a stream if it didn't screw up. Yeah, every time it hangs up like that, that's a problem. It's unacceptable. I don't understand. Like, the performance on this machine just keeps getting worse and worse. And I've made no changes. There have been no files added. This is good stuff. Let's see if this works. Yeah, this is frustrating. I just need the computer to work. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. You gonna work? You gonna hang up every few seconds? I got like some weird double audio going on too. I know what that is. You'd think after well over 100 of these things it'd start working all right. Well, I guess it's only 50 something paint streams. All right, let's do this thing. Well, howdy y'all, and welcome back to another paint stream here on Country Fried Minis. I'm your host Cameron, the country boy in the big city, presenting once more from the Bullshit Corner 2.0, and tonight we're gonna paint some models. We're gonna keep working on these models, and actually before we get into it, I clicked the wrong thing. What I want to do is pull up this full screen projector preview, and let me try to make sure my focus is somewhat dialed in. So let's put Mr. Leatherhide on this paint handle and enjoy the loud ass motorcycle going by. Yes. Okay, so I can't control the zoom. I can't control the focus and check the focus at the same time. I'm having to click on and off of stuff. Can't really tell if it's in focus or not. It looks half-ass decent. And I think we're gonna go with half-ass decent. I think that's where we exist. It's where we live now. It's half-ass decent. Anyhow, hope you're all doing well this fabulous evening. I'm gonna get rolling in some painting. Work on these little lads. We got a whole bunch of leathery bits that I want to work on this evening and maybe put some patterning on them. I don't know if I'm going to go so pattern heavy. Maybe keep them just like simple browns, simple leather colors will be the way. Let's get this thing. Is that, did I lose my focus there? Maybe not too bad. Full screen projector preview. Yeah, things we're going to be painting about anyways. This needs to be tilted a little bit. How about like... Alright. Anyhow, before we get started, I saw some stuff in the activity feed that I'd like to, yeah, give some thanks to.
Butch Brosman subscribed to the channel.
Thank you for the sub, but Butch Brosman.
William Phillips subscribed to the channel.
Thank you much for the subscription, William Phillips.
Sam Gardner subscribed to the channel.
Thank you for the sub, Mr. Sam Gardner.
Jeff Romalier subscribed to the channel.
Thank you for the subby, Jeff Romalier.
Slapdash Citizen subscribed to the channel.
Thanks to you, Slapdash Citizen.
Matt Stapley subscribed to the channel.
And one to you. Thank you, Mr. Matt Stapley. Thank y'all so much for deciding to sub for the channel. Number go up, make me feel good, and it also helps you to stay appraised of future content. If you out there are seeing this, whether live or via the algorithm, and want to see more, make sure you hit that sub button, hit that little bell so you know when I go live. Medic Gaming says, you always do whiskers or do you switch it up every stream? I don't know what you're talking about. No, sometimes I do the whiskers. Sometimes I'm feeling cat-like, and I gotta have my whiskers. Yes. No, I actually haven't thought about switching it up for the face painting, but that could be a thing if I think about it and like actually do some full face paint beforehand. That could be really fun. I like this idea, and I may very well explore this. Though the cat thing's natural. The next step, of course, is getting some RGB ears for my headset, of course. So why wouldn't I use RGB cat ears on my headphones? Anyhow, first we're gonna get in here and we're gonna hydrate our little wet palette. It got like the texture here is interesting. It feels like maybe I might have get a little mildew or some kind of weird interaction with the solvent in there. Let's go ahead and hydrate it the rest of the way and see if that texture goes away. Yeah, it's got like a weird quality to it. No, maybe not. I wonder why it dried out like that though. I can see on right here it had like a weird thing going on. Maybe it pulled off some of the backing for my parchment. It does have like some spots in it. I wonder what happened there. I'm trying to think, was there any solvents involved with this at some point? I'm not sure. It doesn't smell mildewy. Maybe just a whole bunch of speed paint medium leaked into that. It sure does look strange though. Let's get rid of this sheet and get a new one. Need a new sponge. Yeah, it is a new sponge time, and I have some extras right here, but I think it's okay. It, like, the texture it had is gone. This looks like it's just got bits of the paper stuck to it, and I think that may be what's causing our texture. I do let this thing dry out so that I don't end up with mildewy sponge. But let's go ahead and put a new parchment down, and of course using the pre-cut sheets from Army Painter for this. You could just use parchment from like the roll. But yeah, let's crack into our brand new container of Jubilee paper towels. I couldn't pierce it. Oh god, that's tough plastic. What the fuck? Alright. Get a fresh paper towel. We're going to mop up some of this excess that's on top of the sponge. Got a little too much water there. It's overflowing the edges of our parchment paper, which is just, you know, a little too saturated. That's fine. That's fine. We want to strike a balance of having plenty of moisture to get absorbed into the paint and not enough that it's overflowing the edges. Too bad, because it'll wick pigment out into the sponge, which is why this sponge is so very colored. And that will do us. So let's assess what's going on here and where we can get started for our little lad. Where is my camera controls? How do I get back from adjustments? Click up here, I think. All right, let's tighten this in because we're painting a little lad. Close the Brio control panel and we will full screen preview so I can see what I'm doing. All right, so if y'all recall, we've done a bunch of layering on the back and we've got the flesh tones in. We've added a little bit of a lighter color for highlights in the flesh tones, and it looks like we've got there's a few little problematic spots where I've overflowed the highlight tone. So let's, before we get rolling, go ahead and clean that up a little bit. Could be metallic medium. That stuff is supposed to go straight through parchment, which is why you aren't supposed to use it on a wet palette. I did use some metallics, I think. Maybe. Slink says, "Bah, my dice project is meh at best." Well, meh is not bad, though. Meh is just not impressive. And meh is a building point for better things, I think. Palette is 15% moist. I think palette is more wet than that. I don't think that's accurate. Is this... I test on my tongue by feel. There's no paint on this yet. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get back out our Crusader skin. We're going to put a little bit out. I think we're going to do a little less than a 1-to-1 ratio. I think it's about a 3-to-2 ratio of paint water. So let's get out a single drop in that. Like, it's like a drop and a half there. Oh yes, thank you, Mr. Motorcycle. You're a very cool man riding your motorcycle and being loud everywhere you go. Very cool guy. All right, so we'll put out some paint, some water. You see the our speed paint still has like kind of that gel-like quality to it, but it's a little thinner, and you can brush it down into basically no color at all. We're gonna take this and we're gonna use it like I guess like a glaze, and we want to push this speed paint up into those crevices on our boy's back here, and just clean up anywhere we've got the highlight colors too bright, and increase the contrast a little bit. And you can see the speed paint's gonna suck down into all those little scaly details, those little bumps on the back, and do so much of the heavy lifting for us. But we also want to control it here. So we're applying it like a wash, effectively. Or even like a glaze, I suppose. We don't want any of this color on the highlighted portions of the carapace plates. We just want it up in the crack. Basically boosting our contrast. What are we listening to right now? Oh, of course, Ben Elson. Very nice. And I also think this Crusader flesh is going to impart a little more of that, like, rosiness to the skin, make it look a little more unnerving and skin-like. And then I want it all over the tail here, because we lost a lot of the details in the crevices. Right here, I think we could maybe push a little bit next to the face here and into the ear holes, the ear openings, I should say. It's more than just the ear hole. It's in the ear itself. Same deal, right along the base of the ear and in there. I think we need to push a little back there as well. Deepen that, and then we'll also put some in the juncture between the... I don't know about the fingers. We could maybe use some on the space between the fingers. A little more of that rosiness there. We definitely want some on the toes because we lost some detail, and this wash stuff should bring out that detail. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I'm pleased with it. Keratinous. I technically have dice, but that's about it. Ah, yes. Dice projects. All right, so can we make use of Crusader flesh on these boys? I don't think so. And I don't know how well it's reading because they're so small. We got a little bit more red in there from before. I think we might actually take just a bit of this stuff, and I really want to deepen the shadows. But I'm worried that the color is gonna be put off by it. So actually, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna remove this from the palette first. We're gonna get back out our flesh wash. If I can find the stuff. There it is. Get a little more of our flesh wash out. This is WizKids flesh wash in partnership with Vallejo. This came out of a Learn to Paint Flesh Tones set that I'm glad I picked up. These colors aren't exactly super easy to work with, but they're good enough, and you get a good selection. We're gonna do a similar thing right here with these Los Viejos, the banditos. We're gonna take our flesh wash and we're gonna try to go back in and deepen specific areas. I want more wash where the limbs connect to the body, up under the neck, here. Maybe boost it along the belt line a little bit. And because we're doing this with a wash, it takes a few layers to really build up the effect we're going for. We'll put some on the feet as well. I think that's all we need on that land, so we can go on to the next little Viejo. I just want that wash up underneath chin there. Chin, armpits, etc. All good stuff. Between the thighs and the body. We just want a little more contrast. Go on to the next. Same here, up under the chin. Did I get that in shot? Yeah. Under the chin. And the armpits. Just a little extra red there. Extra dark color. And our last boy. A little more red there. This one's kind of tough because he's kind of leaning across himself, so we want some under that arm, I think. And then right here, right here. Not much we can do. These guys are really small. There's not a lot of surface there to actually receive paint. so we're not going to worry about it too much. Themed dice from Cults 3D, was going to use them as markers for TMM, etc. That's a lot of dots to have to put paint in, though. You could paint them if they're recessed markings. You could paint the whole thing with maybe like an enamel type paint, and then rub it off the surfaces, and it'll stick down in the crevices. Kind of like they do, what's that stuff called with jewelry? The blackening, the antiquing. You could do that kind of approach. Yeah, I don't really know how to approach the printed dice myself. I get where you're coming from and wanting to use them, but I wouldn't know how to do it. Haven't given it much, to be honest. Okay, and if y'all recall, one of the last things we did was to build up a little bit of contrast on the back of these fellers. And I think we want to boost that a little further. So let's take a little bit of ivory, I think. Let's run some ivory, and we're going to do a little tiny dry brush on their backs. Just a little bit. Get Onilab to shake this up for us. Yes. This paint good and mixed up. Thank you, Onilab. I'll put out a little bit of this ivory, which is still like really not super well incorporated. It still could use some mixing, which is very surprising. But we don't need much. And I think I have a good little brush for the dry brush. We can use this one maybe. In fact, I think we're about to cut this one down. I'll have to cut you down. Yeah, let's cut this thing down. Let's cut this thing down even more. So, I don't advise doing this to your brushes until you're ready to commit them to, well, what I'm doing right now. We want to remove some of these bristles. I want a very small dry brush. Alright, and then we have a nice sharp little tip there. And let's hit it a few times to see how bad it frays out, because I know it's going to. But we want to control that fraying somewhat. Yeah, I think that will be good and should get the effect we're going for here. All right, so I'm going to take our ivory. We're going to really work this into the bristles, and immediately I can see that there's some kind of pinkish color in here that is not ivory. That's a problem. So before we get going with that, we're going to clean this brush real good with some acetone. A little acetone in the cap. Rub this in there real good. There's like a yellow tone even. There are multiple colors in this brush. Pour that out. I think we're going to hit this again with a second go. Just want to make sure it's good and clean, because we're about to be dry brushing white, or basically white, and any color in there at all is going to show up. Yeah, we're still pulling out some grays. I can see it up in the ferrule. Mash it in there. Get that solvent good and up in the bristles. Get this brush good and clean. Look at that gnarly grayness coming out of that brush still. We don't want that. We don't want any of that in our white. There we go. I think this should be all right now. Acetone should dry fairly quickly as well. All right, let's try again. And actually, I'm going to throw away this napkin, partially saturated with acetone. We're going to get a new paper towel. All right, so we're going to hit our ivory, which you can see it's still like not fully incorporated. I'm not sure what happened there with that color. We're not going to worry about thinning it, which we maybe should, now that I think about it. Otherwise it's going to get real chalky really fast. So we're going to get out a little bit of Liquitex acrylic medium, and we're going to use this to thin out this stuff here with a single drop. Mix that in real good. And I think we're even going to put a drop of water. Thinning your white paint, typically, I mean, it reduces the coverage, but it does go a long way in helping to prevent that chalkiness that comes from your white paints. Because, you know, the white paints are using titanium dioxide, and it's just a really big molecule that wants to chalk up, wants to have some like texture on your models, and it always looks a little chalky. So we're gonna dip our brush. We're gonna remove most of it on a paper, so we just have a little tiny bit on there. In fact, I may have removed too much there, but you should have just the barest amount of color coming off. And we're gonna take and we're gonna pick out our lads. We're gonna rub this very small little dry brush on the bottoms of the opposite end of where we put the black highlights. I'm just gonna hit these and raise up, boost some of the light effect on the raised portions of their armor. And because they're so textured, this will work beautifully. We can run that brush right across perpendicular to the detail, and it will read magnificent. And of course, whenever you're doing this, if you haven't done much dry brushing yourself, always go less is more. It is very easy to go too far all at once, and is much better to build up the effect a little at a time. Less is more. And I don't know how well that reads to y'all. It probably doesn't, but to my eyes, we have the really nice dark brownish, grayish shadow up to a lighter yellowy white here and here. We're going to do the same for these other boys. Poll for best hat and not a single option for Stetson. No, it's specifically for sombreros. And I believe that these numbers are a reference to the number of windings to make the what you call it, to make the hat. So no, Stetson is not an option, unfortunately, though Stetson is arguably a good hat. I had to guess that. I didn't know anything about it either. I Googled it. I love the little polls. I think I have a little extra chat interaction. In fact, I was telling Sod9 earlier during our during his stream, playing a little Tarkov, mentioning the whole like YouTube has really kind of dropped the ball, I think, in their approach to streaming, because like the video quality is much higher, is leagues above what Twitch is offering. And it's funny, it's a shame that I think if YouTube were to integrate more community interaction in the chat, and then maybe have a nice format for browsing streams, that they could really compete with the Twitch market. As it is, I don't think they are really competing with the market. And it's a shame, because like you could absolutely be getting what you love over on Twitch, but better here on YouTube. Namely, the one big feature that I really like about YouTube streaming is the whole your streams become videos on your channel, and they're just posted to your channel. They live there in perpetuity, unlike a Twitch VOD, which dies after like 90 days or something. A Cobra would be a nice non-sombrero choice. I'm not sure what that is. Type of hat, I'm assuming? I gotta look that up. Yeah, that's kind of fucking dank, if you'll excuse my French. That is a lovely hat. That is a fire hat. My God. All right, I'll be on the lookout for one of those. Very good choice. Very good choice. If we do another hat poll, that'll make it in there. I gotta get one now. Oh, do I full offensive with it and like get the Akubra hat and do some kind of like stereotypically Australian themed diorama and put on a really bad accent? I know RFD Hobby has occasionally me to do my best Aussie accent, and I can't bring myself to do it. I get the stage fright. I'll train it, or maybe just ham it up. I think it'd be fun. I mean, as it is now, the accent that I put on here, is pretty genuine, but is very hammed up. Oh my God. Extra cheese. Oh, look, if you can bring the cheese, bring the cheese. Cheese in it. I say that, and I don't think I'm 100% there when it comes to BattleTech, for instance. I tend to be a little more reserved than bringing the cheese. Well, then again, I say that, and my my entire list, my list of the Atomo guys, what I painted for the Painting a Lance in One Day episode, was fully built to have Artemis systems. All of them have Artemis. Abraham says, I love Akubra hats. Wore one for a few years, but I never knew it had a name. Yeah. Stretched Southern. I don't know. I just, I really can't explain where the country fried thing came from. It just was an idea in passing and became a thing. And it's really just like an intensified version of them accents that you hear down south back in good old Tennessee. And then the other thought I had was, most folks, when they start making content, kind of deepen their voice a little bit and try to, most men, I should say, deepen their voice and go for that, like the podcast voice, the deeper tone. Put a little sultry in it. I went the other way, just up and high, up and to the right. So you won't roll up with 100 tons of Savannah Meadows. No. And the reason I won't is because it's not fun for the opponent. But that said, I do run lists with LBX cluster rounds and MRMs and things that roll a lot on the cluster tables. Because it's great. I want that random chance. I tend to play for... I know there's some value to punching through the armor first and then fishing for crits with your cluster weapons, but I like to just blast and go for head hits right on the get. Jump string Falcons for life or C3 Thug Life. Yes. I find C3 hard to use, though. Every time I've used C3, I feel like my lists are a little undergunned and a little fragile. So they're hard to incorporate. OMFG, the Charger of that era, is a beast. I gave TSM plus melee in the late Republic last game. Amazing. Amazing, amazing. I mean, I can't argue with that. I love a Berserker. And a TSM Berserker is hitting for 30 damage. It's so good. Hover up. That's funny. I just caught that. Alright, so I just made a little boo-boo while we were dry brushing. So I don't know if that's showing up for y'all. But I got a little bit of that ivory in this crevice here. So we want to go back and correct that real quick. And to do that, we were using Gravelord Gray Speed Paint. And that just left crusties. Don't that look like a certain coarse hair? A little bit. Alright, so let's, you know, I think we could go full strength with this. We just want to be very targeted with the application. I'm going to take a little bit of our speed paint here and we're just going to fix our little boo-boo right there. Maybe hit it one more time to ensure a good coat. There we go. And it's basically dealt with. Maybe that crevice needs a little more black. Alright, and then we should have like the dark to light, the dark to light, the dark to light, the dark to light. It just accentuates that there are separations in the layers of the plates on the carapace. Berserker's 100 tons. Didn't TSM hatchet hits for 40? Wait, no, I thought it was 1.5. Is it really 40 damage? That's absurd. Van Noir says Hatamoto Spider, Avalanche, and Katana with C3. I don't know if I know either the Avalanche or the Katana. Katana is the Crockett. Okay, that one makes sense. But the Avalanche Sarna. What are we looking at with the Avalanche? I've seen this mech before. Avalanche is 3133. I usually don't play that late, to be fair. What are we looking at? Medium mech, 50 tons, 2 LRM 10s, 4 ER medium lasers. Yeah. 1,500 points. Do they all have C3? Interesting. I'll have to look into it. It looks like a fun model to paint, though. Avalanche has option with C3 with Arrow 4. Yeah, that's a friendship ender. Double damage on melee for TSM. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I thought it was 1.5. It's also 30 damage in one location, or 40 damage in one location. Yeah, Berserker is an all-timer. Okay. To actually move forward with the project here. I think what we want to do is start working on... I think we want to start working on the wood here, and I'm not 100% sure what color we had used. I think it might be this Parasite Brown. So let me put a little out and just check it out. This stuff is also, like the ivory, is kind of separated out. I wonder if we can get a stir ball in here. What's the way to do this? We get pliers, right, and just work that off. Yeah, that worked hella smooth, actually. let's drop a little stir ball. So when I picked up the Onilab MX Mini, it came with this thing here. We got a ton of these stainless steel mixing balls. Well worth. Let's drop that in there, and I think that should help. And actually, you know what? While I'm thinking about it, let's put one in that ivory as well. Where's it at? Put one in that ivory. These two colors, something they use in these colors has a propensity to separate out. Let's do that. TSM Hatchet 100 tonner hitting you with an Ultra AC20 on location. But it's even better because an Ultra AC20 misses, I think it's 60% of the time. If you do the math on an Ultra AC, only 40% of your attempts are going to be a double hit. I'm actually of the opinion now that an Ultra AC is never worth taking. Maybe if you're using some of the bonus rules that allow for like walking your shot would be really good. That's a very cool rule, where if two targets are in close proximity, you can walk the shot across them, which basically means either both your Ultra AC shots are hitting the first target, or you're making a second attack roll for the second target. It's the way it should work. Otherwise, I don't see a point in ever taking an Ultra for the extra shot. They are good for the extra range. I will give them that. Rotary autocannon greater than Ultra autocannon due to unjamming, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. You can always... Does the rotary have the extended range that an Ultra has? I guess there's also... rotaries only go up to 5s as well. So, pound for pound, a rotary AC5 is less damaging than an Ultra AC20. But they're, and you're spreading out the damage more. Alright, so let's see if that helped this paint. Yeah, it looks decently mixed up now. This stuff has been a nightmare to work with. I don't know if this is the color that we use though. Let's see. Bottom. I think that's the color. That looks right. That looks right. Okay, that looks correct. So we're gonna film that now. If you recall, we were filming just the work on Leatherhide himself, and not the work on the Viejos. RA6 at 6 times is 30 damage, that isn't accounting for spread, which will 100% happen. Yeah. It's also, you're probably not hitting with all 6. You should think probably hitting with 3. So, you know, you're doing 15 damage, which is respectable. The AC5. I thought Berserker carried mask, not TSM. Yeah, one variant is mask and the other one is TSM. I often run the mask one though, as well. Can't remember what the armament on the TSM one is. Let's pull it up. Berserker Sarna. Berserker. So the default variant is the mask. There's a mask with the ERPPC, 2 large pulse lasers, all that good stuff, and then there is the TSM right here. So it's 6 ER medium lasers. I guess it still has the ERPPC. Yes, medium lasers, ERPPC, C3, and triple strength myomer. So you heat it up, you run in, you chop them to death. You're also a C3, so you're a C3 slave in the unit, And that thing's going to get in there because it wants to be point blank range anyways. Yeah, big recommend. Oh my god, okay. Sorry, just got some updates about our Project Zomboid world. Those of you have been hanging out within the Country Fried Minis Discord community would know we've been playing a lot of Project Zomboid together as a community, and we're having a bit of a crisis over there. Our locations are overwhelmed with zombies. Okay, what are we doing? We're putting on some Parasite Brown. So we're going to show it to the camera once again. We're going to put a little bit out on the tray. There we go. We're going to thin it 1-to-1 with water. Put a little drop in it. Boop. I'm going to mix it up. We get our Parasite Brown ready. Mix it all up. Clean our brush. C3 slave on a TSM hatchet mech is brutal. Yeah, it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And we're going to grab our little lad. Stick him on the paint handle. And we're using our 2 brush, which has a nice point on it. It's a big fat belly, so it's going to hold a lot of paint. But it has a nice sharp, and that's what we want here. We get our Parasite Brown onto the stock of this weapon, and we're also going to kind of thread the needle here and try to get it on the wood without hitting the fingers. It's okay if we hit the ropes because we're going to go back in and paint those up, but for now we want to, we're trying to do the wood. We've already painted those fingers, so we don't want to screw them up too bad. Just thread the needle here. Work really, really carefully. There we go. Looking all right. There's a spot on the back of it that's a little weak, so we'll fill that in. And I think from here, I want to work in like a deck tan kind of color, which I don't have deck tan. So I think what we'll do, clean the brush first. We're going to get out our Xandri Dust. Might be a little too dark. No, let's use it. Let's just do it. Abraham says, been meaning to ask, what kind of brushes do you use? Let me toss that out there once again for y'all. If I was at the computer, I'd link an Amazon affiliate link. But I like Princeton Art and Brush Co. sets. These things are absolutely incredible. You're getting, like, this set came with a 000, a 3, a 20, and a 0 angle shader. The fan, like, I haven't really found a use for it. But you're paying like $8 USD for one of these off of Amazon. And the other set I used was, I still have the thing in the trash here. This one is similar price, so like $7-8, and you're getting a 3, a 1, a 2, a 6, and a 4. So you get these fantastic brushes. I mean, they're golden Taklon, so they're going to break down quick, but they're also they're nice quality golden Taklon with nice sharp tips. So if you care about animal welfare, they are a really good option. Obviously they're not going to be as good as like a sable brush. Just objectively they're not, but there's no animal cruelty involved in the harvesting of golden Taklon. LOL, Force Pack equals Steiner Recon Lance. Yes. Alright, so we're going to get our Xandri Dust out. And we're going to pick up a little bit with our, what is it, our four round. Pick a little bit off of there. And we're going to put it on our palette. Put it down on our palette. And we're going to mix it in to our parasite brown, a little at a time. A little at a time. Get a nice little gradient going here. Basically, we want to leave a little bit of the pure color to one side. And we work down this gradient into our parasite brown. And this way we'll have all the colors. So like, we got parasite brown, we got a little bit, we got a little bit more, we got a little bit more. Straight. Straight Xandri dust. We're going to get back out our nice sharp little brush here, our 2. We're going to start picking out little details. There's not too much here, so we're just going to skip right up to like the 50-50. We're just going to try to trace the wood grain. I really don't care if it's perfect. Doesn't matter. We're kind of just making it up with some chunky, a chunky imitation of the details there. This is not Golden Demon winning quality levels. This is getting it done and having it look all right on camera. All right, we'll go up to the next color right here. Mix in a little more. Get that Xandri dust going. My brush is too wet. Pick up a little bit more. I'm just going to trace our wood grain a little bit more. It's time attack, bringing it back. Some little details here we want to just bring them out some. Concentrating this highlight closer to the edge of the butt there. A little bit right there. A little bit right here. Okay. And then we just want our straight Xandri dust at this point. And it's such a small amount that we're not even worried about it being full strength. I don't even care that it's not thinned. We're just going to put a little bit on the edge. Weapon. Maybe a little bit right there. That's it. Just tiny, tiny little bit on that gun there. Brings it out. Brush is 13% moist. No, you need more wet on that brush. Nope, 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 nope. Nightbot don't know what she's talking about. I don't need no more wet. I need it nice and dry like the Sahara. It is Xandri dust after all. Okay, so we do have Parasite Brown out. And we've used a little bit of Parasite Brown on, I think, just these two lads. On this and that hat. So while we have this color out, let's go ahead and let's do another coat of some nice Parasite Brown. Pushing it up towards the edges. Actually don't know if this is Parasite Brown. It looks a little off. I may have gotten some Xandri dust down into it. So we're just going to keep this next layer kind of towards the top of this hat. Even the shadow layer underneath. Maybe this stuff just looks a lot lighter while it's drying. Or while it's still wet. Until it dries. Is that what I'm trying to say here? I actually see there is a little bit of flashing on that hat that I want to deal with. I want to nip that in the bud right now. Where is... It's back there. Come on, meow. I need you. Do I have a small enough bit for this? We can either use this one or that one. think it's the smallest bits I got, though. I may have to manually do this. Do I have a file small enough to get in there? Or is this a hobby knife situation? Can we fit the tip of our file right there? Yeah, I guess no, not really. Can we fit this there? Not really. This is a hobby knife situation. All right, so I'm gonna get a hobby knife. I'm gonna try to remove this flashing, and it came right off. How about that? Ooh, I see it runs up underneath. It's a mold line. It is a egregious mold line that I missed. And this is bad because we're pulling primer off as well, but these models are not meant to be handled. So I think it'll be okay. Yeah, that came off really easily. Alright, don't even need that. Let's get some parasite brown on that. It's gonna take a few coats. So we gotta make sure to really glob it on there. Stuff's thinned out, so it should still flow fairly smoothly. But let's get some color on these boys. Get this second coat down on the parasite brown. It does look lighter than whatever color I used before. That's fine. I think we may just have a little bit of Xandri dust mixed into the base. Or maybe I was using it before and it wasn't like thoroughly mixed up in a satisfactory way. So let's just make sure to get this stuff on real good. Tracing the top here. Little boys, hard to hold on to. And it looks like I missed some coverage down around those ears as well. So make sure to drop the brush for no reason. That's an important part of the process, y'all. Make sure you drop your brush while painting. We're gonna try to jam a little bit of this parasite brown up in where we missed it. Still just can't help but feel like this is not the color we used here. If it's not, it's really, really close to what we used. It's fine though. We're painting over it anyways. See a whole bunch we missed down around these ears. I wonder if I got an ink wash in there. You know, I don't pay attention to what we did last week, to be honest. I drop them all the time, wet, bristle down on my shirt. Yeah, exactly. The best is when your fingers just like decide to let go of whatever you're holding on to. You'd think I'd be able to prevent that by now. Just be, you know, cognizant of it. But I guess because it doesn't really matter, my brain isn't putting a ton of power in my fingers clasp on what I'm holding. Man, these little lads are so small. They're so small. It's funny, these are sold as a 28mm model, but they also work in 15mm. They just would be really, really big lads, like people sized in 15mm. In 28mm, they're more reasonable armadillos. Alright, so now we're hitting this with effectively a third layer here. This has dried so quickly. It's very warm in San Francisco today. I feel it starting to cool off, which is nice. It's very warm today. think that's facilitating our drying time over here. All right. There we go. Now this boy also had some Parasite Brown. We're going to mount him to the old Citadel handle here. And I used to drop the minis all the time too. A painting handle helped a lot with that. Oh, I love a good painting handle. I love this painting handle. In need to try and get some more. I only have the one. It's funny, I bought one for my brother, I bought one for my dad, and I never bought a second one for myself. I never thought I'd need more than one. And right now, if I had 5, I'd be using all 5 of them. So I guess I should be on the lookout for them. The current GW painting handle that's like a wine stem is it's very calculated. It makes sense. Like it works. But someone like me, I've got big clunky hands. My fingers are dumb. I need the chunky handle. And I know there's like some 3D print files out there, but I like this one in particular. The shape is really nice. The spring mechanism is really high quality. It's actually a quality product from GW, from Pittadell Pork Chop. Speaking of, I'm going to be releasing a Pittadell Pork Chop t-shirt at some point on the Threadless store. Link in the description down below. It may actually, I don't know if it's in the description down below. You can check out the merch on countryfriedminis.com. Want to get your hands on a t-shirt or two to show your love for the channel. And if you do, make sure to message me first on Discord, and I'll give you a code, and you can get them at cost, because I'm not selling shirts to make a profit. I'm selling shirts so you can wear the cool shirts. There's something going on up underneath here. I missed a spot, maybe like a steely blue gray. Yeah, I think that is maybe even raw metal showing up in there. I think I'm just gonna jam some of this color in there, and then we're gonna clean it up with a wash here in a bit. All right, so I don't know why I just licked that brush out of habit. Tastes bad though. Let's put some of these tools away. There we go. Smells like pork chop in the house tonight. By the way, it's not the Avalanche I was talking about, but the Dragon 2. What? So there's 3 different things called an Avalanche in Battletech? Dragon 2. Sarna. Dragon 2, never heard of it. Dragon 2, $30.99. 65-ton heavy mech. Era 4 ERPPC X-Pulse laser. Gross. I mean, honestly, if you're bringing Aero 4s, it's already disgusting. They are definitely a try-hard weapon. If you're playing to win, if you're playing to take some skulls, Aero 4 makes sense. All right, where are we at? Let's put our little hat boy back on here, and we're gonna grab our next color down and start detailing out the hat. We're gonna go the next step up in this gradient, and we're just gonna very quickly apply this to like the upper half of the hat and the rim. Does not need to be perfect. We're gonna have so many little cactuses and critters and stuff in the diorama that like any one detail doesn't need to be perfect. We just get some color on it. All right, we'll run across the rim top. We're gonna run across the top of his head. We're gonna make sure to enjoy the people honking their horns outside, thinking it will get them home any faster. I don't understand it. All right, we're gonna take the next color down, which is almost straight Xandri dust. We're gonna run it along the rim, but we're not gonna do the whole rim. We're gonna do right here, where it's like raised a bit, and you have this little dip right here. We're gonna not put it there, and then we have a dip right here that we're not gonna put it on. We're just gonna run it right there. And I think we're gonna spill it over a little bit on the front here, the top of the front, like right there. And then the same right here. And then the same right about here. Okay. Next color is straight Xandri dust. And we're going to run it at the highest point of the upturned edge of this. So just right there in the middle. And same right here on the very front, on the top. That's it. Oh shit, I forgot to put some on the top of the head. So we're going to put some right there. And then we're going to use the straight Xandri dust right in the top of the middle. And there we go. Got a little detail on that hat. Got a little bit of worn leatherness to it. A little bit of a highlight. It has some richer detail than just straight parasite brown. Vandal Noir says, by the way, everyone remember to hit like. Yes, if you do that, it will please the algorithmic gods and push this content to more people. So if you do like it, please. Thank you much. Slink says, thinking about maybe printing some custom decals. I have an inkjet. Been reading about having to seal it so it doesn't run. If you do explore that, please share it with the community. I am quite curious about that myself and have not taken the plunge to work on it yet. Any varnish needs something else. As far as clear coats, all I can recommend is my go-to. This shit is magic. Winsor & Newton's Artist Acrylic Matte UV Varnish. This stuff is... I don't think we have any left in that container. I keep that container for ease of pouring. Shite. It jumped back down at me. It also comes in these tubs, which I don't really like the tub. But this stuff is awesome. It'll spray right out of your airbrush, but you don't need an airbrush. You can brush it on and it'll work fine. In fact, let's get this lady right here that we did on the collaborative stream with the Aussies. And I have a dedicated brush for this. I do recommend a dedicated brush. Where's it at? I think that's it. But this stuff is great because you can brush it right on. Brush it right on and move it around. You just don't want to get any bubbles in it. But this stuff is really, really nice. It's crystal clear, so it doesn't muck with the colors. I mean, if you glob it on too thick, that could be a problem. But if you want a flat coat with like no shine to it, this stuff is great. And you can just apply it with a brush. One thing though, if you're doing this, you don't want to introduce any bubbles to it. So I get this soft, battered old brush that I kind of stipple it on, without going too hard. Yeah, really good stuff. Big recommend. You'll spray through your airbrush too and get a nice clean smooth coat. But it's shiny now, but once that dries it'll be flat, flat, flat. Good stuff. Big recommend. Vanor says, okay, night. Well, thank you for stopping by, good sir. Have a good night. Abraham says, I use a similar matte varnish from Liquitex. Really makes everything more durable. Don't know if it'll help with decal paper, though. You could always put a gloss varnish over top of it first. Or like a lacquer would work. Maybe something like, is it this stuff? The Citadel hard coat. I think if you hit it with a, as long as you got something sealing it, it should work. Mod Podge, maybe. I use Mod Podge, but that stuff's will set up kind of thick, honestly. All right, so where are we on this guy? I actually think we need to boost the details on this Parasite Brown. So before we get into that, I think we're about to get out a little bit of our Agrax Earthshade. And put a little out. You know what, I don't need much. We'll just dip it off the back of the brush here. A bit of Agrax Earthshade. I think that's what we want. Something solvent-based instead of water-based. Yeah, I do have some Mod Podge. I like Mod Podge. If any of y'all live in the States, yes. Oh, I love this guy and his loud-ass muffler. It's really good stuff. He's so cool. His car is so loud. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Mod Podge, good stuff. If you live in the States, you can get these containers at the Dollar Tree. So you're paying $1, $1.25, depending on where it's at. If you find yourself going out somewhere that has a parking lot with a Dollar Tree, go and get some of these. This is great. It's gonna last you a real long time. It's basically what, like, it's a PVA glue with a sealer in it, right? Like a resin or something. Okay. Can't hear myself think with that. Kind gentleman sharing his loud muffler with us. I think we're gonna boost the shadows here with our Agrax Earthshade and push it here. I can hear that man 3 blocks away. Dude, those loud motors just like reset my brain and tick a checkbox in my head that's just like instant rage. Okay, so we're just gonna around the top of the hat here with the Agrax Earthshade. We're gonna boost a little bit of the shadow in there. Okay, and now we want to do a similar thing and take Agrax Earthshade and work it into, there's a bunch of little crevices here. We're going to try to be targeted with the application of this instead of just putting it everywhere. We want to wash it into these crevices. Because I did just kind of hit the whole thing with the Parasite Brown. We want to work it anywhere 2 details that are the same color or joined. Little sizing bits for the belt. I don't know what you'd call these. Loops, maybe? They're just loops. And see, there's stitching details that I want to bring out right here. Trace around and try to put them in those holes. leaves like a border on the top. We're also going to trace it with our agri shade. And we're careful with the application and very gentle with the brush. Because it's an ink, it's going to go where we're telling it to. Or where we're willing it to, I should say. PVA and acrylic medium, yeah. So it's more than just PVA. It's you're getting a double duty there. You're getting the sealing action of the acrylic, but also that buildup of the PVA, and the acrylic medium will prevent the final product from being so water sensitive, whereas dried PVA glue is a little moisture sensitive. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's a surprising tool to have in your arsenal as a hobbyist. Big recommend. I also use the gloss stuff for like headlights and stuff on my motorcycles and whatnot. Works really well for that. You need a little bit of high shine on there in a very targeted way. Slap some of that on. I often put it on my mech cockpits as well. Yeah, I don't know if y'all can see the details on that at all because it's so tiny. But that little bit of darkening just adds so much to it. Alright, so now we'll go back to what we were doing and we'll take that next color up. So we're working from about right here. Let's see, tilt this so y'all can see it. Working about right here. So this is straight parasite brown, and then this is straight sandry dust, and we're about this far back on that gradient scale. And we're just going to be really careful about where we're applying this stuff. We're going to run it right along the top of this here belt. And I think we're actually going to run this color on the bottom of the belt too. There's like a little dip in the middle that will keep the parasite brown. A horizontal dip there. I hit all these little thingamabobs. Being real careful not to get it down in the crevices. We're going to run across those same details that we did with the... I'm going to run right next to the details, I should say, that we did with the ink. Around the crevices, the raised areas, all that good stuff. Less is more here too, of course. I made a mistake, so I'm going to clean the light, try to lift that out before it sets. Who dis? Ingrid Witt. It's that song that goes doot 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 doot. There's a lot of doots. A lot of doots and beeps and boops in the music. Alright, so we've just about made it all the way around. Let's hit this thing. We're going to try to get some highlight on the raised areas of this stitching detail. And then right there too. I see a spot where we just missed getting any color at all. I'm going to try to pick that out. There we go. Excellent. We'll go the next color down, which is starting to dry out, so we better work quick. This is why I usually use fluid retarder, especially when you're working with small amounts. Basically tracing what we just did, but in a more Any highlights here will be relegated to the tops. Zip, zap, zip, zap. Right here on the same deal, the sharpest edges. I don't even think we're gonna highlight in the center, just the sharp edges. I mean, this is a tiny little detail too. Like, who cares? If it's got a little color on it and it catches the eye a little bit more, our job. We don't need it to be super try hard. Bink, bonk, boonk. I'm off frame, I'm sorry. There we go. A little bit there, there, there. All right, now angry dust, and it's starting to dry out, so we're gonna mix this stuff up. And we're gonna set it here, and we're gonna mix a little water into it. I usually have a drop or two of water on the palette here for this kind of purpose. All right. So same deal, but even more reserved. Just little scratches of this color here and there. We want to accentuate, not obscure. Zip, zap, zip, zap. Am I in frame? Kinda half-assed. I like this track a lot. Lo-Fi's Lisboa. One of my favorites. Maybe in top 20. Alright, that looks kinda nice. I don't know if y'all can really make that out at all. Maybe a little bit right here on the back of that holster. Maybe here. But it's detailed up. Adds a lot to it. Nice little subtle touch. Okay, that's a color. I think the next color we have is the same as this, which is our Baylor Brown. And that Baylor Brown is right here on the ropes that go around Mr. Ladd. And it's also, I think we used it right here. I think we used it right there. So we're gonna get out our Baylor Brown. Where's it at? I think that's it right there. A little bit of Baylor Brown. Armadillo's looking good. Thanks. They're very samey, honestly. Very samey. But to be they're more about all the texture that's on them. See, do I have any more? This is ready to go? I don't. So I'm thinking a little diorama about like this side ish. Man in the guys are being surrounded. I'm picturing like a broken fence and some cactuses and maybe like or like some lizards. Could be really fun once we get there. What's next is Baylor Brown. So let's pop out our camera again, because we film anything that we're working on for Leatherhide. So we're gonna show the Baylor Brown to the camera. We're gonna get out Oni Lab. We're gonna give this a good mix. Let that run. And now we'll take our big old 4 brush and open this container and put out some Baylor Brown. I think maybe that much of it will be enough. We're gonna add 1 drop of water. I have 1 drop of water. It is Citadel Air, so I don't think we actually need the water, but I did just add 2 drops to it because the 2 drops conjoined. So I hope that's not too thin. I think it is. So we want I'm going to get another dollop of pure paint out of here. There we go. Mix that in real good. Stuff's already a little bit thin because it's the airline, which I actually really like. The Citadel Air colors. I think they're a better paint consistency. They're really good for working right out of the pot. If you need a small amount of paint and don't want to thin it out, if you want to just shoot it through your airbrush, they work well for that. And if you want to thin them down, a single drop adds a whole lot to it. Okay, so Mr. Leatherhide, he's gonna get a little bit of this color on his hat. So we're still working with our 2. We're gonna be super careful here. Still a little too thin, honestly. Just a little bit too thin. It's gonna take 2 more coats to get the opacity that I'm after. Just want to take our time, really think about it. Be careful about our brush placement. So we're trying to not spill any over on the black again. Just breathe. Be cognizant of where the tip of your brush is. Maintain a few points of contact, and slowly and steadily stroke it up against your intended recipient. I don't know if y'all can see, but I am just barely keeping a little bit of paint on the tip of this brush. Not much at all. Maybe like 2.5 millimeters worth of paint on the tip of the brush there. Very fine control. So funny that I paint this way. Like normally, if I wasn't painting on camera, I'd have it up here, really close. But because I'm filming it, I'm not only trying to keep it in the shot for this camera, but also this camera, which has got me craning over and around the camera. Alright, so we're actually just gonna completely cut our little rope here. And he's got rope tied around his shotgun. Wonder what that's about. I'm assuming the handle, the furniture's falling off. Alright, so we get that Baylor brown on there. Oh shit, I just rubbed that brush in Xandri dust. Okay, let's do another coat on the hat here. Try to keep this in the shot. Very careful about the application here. You know, I've said before that I am not exactly a fan of the painting process. But honestly, sometimes when you get in the zone and you slow down and you're really thinking about what you're doing and taking your time and listening to some good music in your earballs, nice. It's nice to zone out. If you out there are catching this by the algorithm and watching back through while you're working on your own hobby, let me know in the comments down below. Share a story about your own painting for the and for the community. Alright, so we got a coat of Baylor Brown. That is a satisfactory amount. And think about the next color up from the Baylor Brown. It needs to go kind of super bright, actually. I was thinking we used the Ushtabi bone, but I'm pretty sure we used the Ushtabi bone on his yellow belly. So we want a little bit of contrast there. I think what we're gonna do is hit the record again, and we're gonna show the Agrax Earthshade to the camera. We're gonna show getting out the Agrax Earthshade and putting it in a puddle. And we're gonna put a little bit of Agrax Earthshade to deepen the shadows. So what we're gonna do first, while this dries and we think about our highlight tone, I want those contrast boost. Yeah. That looks really good. I don't think we're gonna put any Agrax Earthshade on the hat band. That'd be too much with the black. So for now, while we're thinking about it and giving it some thought, we can switch over to the lads that need the Baylor Brown. So in that case, it's going to be this little feller. I'm just going to hit it the same way. Go around that hat, trace it all around. We're leaving that first coat that was kind of thin and with some shadow in it. We're leaving that hanging out underneath, just like really close to the head. And I think we hit these with like either an ink wash or some kind of contrast paint, if I recall correctly. Oh, it was the black and the brown to deepen the scales. And it kind of crept up onto the hat a little bit, and that'll work as our like a shadow color, even though it is just the same color that we're applying right now. I'm just going to give it the same treatment that we did for the Parasite Brown sombrero, all the way around it. Okay, and once we've gone around, we can go across the brim. Trying to be cognizant of the camera, as always. Looking for spots where we have weak coverage. I think we're actually going to trace a little bit in here, because I see some spots where our ink wash went into a mold line that doesn't look great. So I'm going to trace a little bit on the inside here. Right there. And right on top as well. Basically the whole thing. good there. Who gets it next? I think it's this fellow. Does this guy also have... I think I did two belts in Baylor Brown. Interesting. I don't know why I did that. Oh well, let's just roll with it. And this time, I think what we're going to try to do, because it looks like the ink wash has already treated these guys. We'll just try to skip a layer from what we did before and utilize the wash that's here as the shade already. I guess it's a little more black. Yeah, it's black. It's not brown, it's black. So we're actually going to recoat these entirely, just like we did with the parasite brown. I really don't want to do this extra work on these guys. Like, this project's already bloating like everything this channel does, but I think the black shadows on them are going to be a little excessive, and we want that Agrax earth shade instead of the Gray Lord Gray black on them. So we're going to do that thing that acrylic paints do so well. Just take our nice thin color and paint over it again. It's the beauty of painting minis, actually. When you screw up or change your mind, you can always just paint right back over it. I mean, obviously there's an upper limit, like 20-30 coats on a model starts to climb details. I guess if you keep it really, really, really thin, maybe not. But yeah, let's get some detail. Get some of this color back on there. And this is pretty thin, so it dries pretty quick too. There we go. Maybe the back of this holster. There we go. And then this guy also same color. Wonder what possessed me to do these lads with the belt in the same color. I was trying to put some variation on them. I'm sure I talked about that. Made a boo-boo here, so we're gonna clean the brush and lift that paint up and out. There we go. Also, I don't advocate licking your brush. You know, it's a habit and it works really well for me. In moments like this. Ideally, you're not making the mistakes where you need to have a brush to lift your mistakes, or you have a on standby to work as an eraser. But like, if you make a mistake and you flood an area with the color and it goes crevice, you can use a wet brush without paint on it and lift off the paint if you work very quickly, very, very quickly. Quicker the... It's a Ben Elson track? No, it's an Ava Lowe track. Okay. Getting one clean coat of the Baylor Brown over this holster belt. Hopefully without flooding it again and getting it in the crevice. Oof, there we go. quick two thin coats on it. Excellent. All right. What's next? We're going to dry out our brush real good. And then this lad, the first one, that got the new coat of Baylor Brown, it's going to get that same treatment with the Agrax Earthshade. See, can we get this any further? Let's find out. Zip. As far in as I can go. What do we want? We're just pushing tiny bits of that Agrax Earthshade into the crevices, while trying also to avoid any raised areas. Be very selective here. Here we go. We come around here, a little bit right there, and then you and you and you. What we're doing here, we're forcing the shadows. It's such a small subject that natural lighting is not going to provide shadows unless it's really, really, really absurdly bright. Not that y'all out there don't understand that. How dare I doubt your mini paint knowledge. We are flooding the opening of the holster. I want that nice and dark. So we just flooded that whole crevice. And then we're back to very careful application. Very careful application. I'm not worried about making the belt buckle gold or anything. I think it's too small of a detail to worry about that, honestly. Hey, it's that asshole who's got the loud stereo system on his Harley. I love that guy. That guy makes me very happy every time he drives by. I love how he revs 6 or 7 times as he comes up to the red light as he's slowing down. It's really awesome. Really, really good stuff. Y'all, I think I need a short break from the city, honestly. Motorcycles be getting to me. And there's a proud motorcycle community here. Pretty sure the Bay Area is known for Hell's Angels as well, if I recall correctly. I believe the Hunter S. Thompson book is out here. Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco. Alright, a little bit of Agrax there, and we're going to do the same thing right here. We're going to flood this opening. I want that nice and dark brown, and then we can trace our stitching. There we go. Very cool. Looking all right. All right. And so I've been giving it some thought here, just a little bit of thought. And we want, I think we're going to add ivory into our Agrax or our Baylor Brown as the next color. So let's do that. We're going to bust back out the camera. We're going to set this over to Pro Video. We're going to hit record. We're going to pull back out our ivory. We're going to dollop a little bit down. Which of course it is not, it's all bottom of the bottle. I don't think I've ever managed to get a nice smooth of putting the color out, and this stuff is still really like pasty and separated from the pigment in the medium. It's really thick as well. Gotta say, Vallejo's ivory, useful color, very nice to have in your collection. Shitty paint, very shitty paint. It separates out. It's got weird inconsistencies in it. It gets very chalky. Very shitty paint. Good color, bad paint. Really bad paint. Honestly, don't waste your time with it. If you get it in a collection, great. Utilize it. I would not seek it out. And I think this it's a nice point to bring up, that you can't swear by any one brand as like the gospel, the go-to of paints. Like, generally Vallejo is like good quality, but some of their colors really suck. They have some of the worst metallics I've ever used, but they also have the best metallics I've ever used. The Vallejo middle color airbrush colors are amazing. Vallejo's metallics in the bottle, fucking horrible. By far the worst metallics I've ever used. Alright, so what are we doing here? We're adding little dots of color. Little dots of color on these ropes. And then we go to the next color. Pink, bonk, pink, 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 bonk, bonk, pink, bonk. Let's do this. Close that. Set this to that. Alright, moving up a stage in the color. Ding, ding, bonk. We move up another stage in the color. We'll do right there, tippy, deppy, doopy. Alright. That looks right. We can stop filming this boy and we'll switch over to our armadillos. Now, I don't know how light I actually need to go with the hat. We're going to take the same tack that we did before. We're going to, next step up, we're going to cover most of the outside, leaving the shadow color towards the inside. Still have some strong lines showing through there. I'm going to fill it in with the straight Baylor brown real quick. Right here. Alright, and then we can take our highlight tone and keep working with that. run it around the rim all the way, full circumference. Not worried about any dips yet. This is just the first step up in shade. There we go. And we'll cover most of the top of the head. Most of the top. Even maybe the bottom quarter or fifth. Okay, and we'll take the next color up. We'll do the same thing as before. We're going to run the rim, but we're going to pick the low spots and try to not put any paint on them. We're going to run the front here, but the top like quarter. Just like the top quarter of it. There we go. Same on the back, all the way around. All right, and then we'll do same thing on top, but we'll do like the top third. And actually that looks like it needs to be feathered a bit. So we'll remove some of the paint from the brush and then feather it with the semi-clean brush. All right, next stage up. We're gonna just hit the raised spots. So like right here, and right here. And then we'll hit the very tip of the front right there. There we go. And then I think the same on the back, right here. And the very tip of the hat. Tippy top of the top of the tube. There we go. Perfect. That's it. The hat is now like nice and shaded and has a contrast than just the base color. All right, we're gonna try to do something really quick on these holsters. So we'll take our first highlight color, same deal. Rinse and repeat. Run this color. You know, make sure to screw into the crevice. That's really good. And then we'll do the same for the little sizing bands or whatever. Okay. We'll hit the stitching on the holster. I need some more water on this palette. Make sure to hit the camera. This paint's already dried out. There we go. Rub the stitching. Rub that stitching, rub this stitching all the way around. The loop, the edge of the belt. A little bit more here. Looks like I've rubbed some paint off down to the bare metal somehow. All right. That's all that one gets of the first highlight tone. So we'll move on to the next. Same deal. Loopy-doos. Hit the stitching. Hit the little loopy-doos. Daps, hit the stitching, All right, we'll move up to the next color. There we go. Same thing, we're going to start with the stitching this time. We'll hit the raised areas of the stitching. We'll hit the tops of the loopy-doos. We'll hit the most raised portion of the belt. The tips of the dippy-doos. And make sure to put paint only in the crevices where it doesn't need to go. Bam. Wow. Same down the front. With the little buckle right there, pound. There we go. You guys looking right. Swap back to this failer and we'll do the same treatment. Take this highlight tone, we hit the stitching, we hit the tippy-doos of the dippy-doos, loopy-doos, sizing loops, I don't know what the hell they're called. Ask me if I care. If they have a proper name or not. Yes, the answer is yes to that, by the way. All right, and now we take our last tone and use it in a very targeted and reserved fashion. So just the barest highest point of the belt, the very tippy tops of the loopy-doos in the middle, the very tip, the holster, there we go. That's all that gets. Less is more. Same deal on this guy. Take that highlight tone, we'll hit the buckle, hit that buckle, the last loop on the belt, the raised bit of the stitching, the very center highest points of the sizing loopy-doos, a little bit right in the middle right there. Same deal over here, boom, 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 and the highest point of the thing. And now we have these lads with some proper little highlights on their holsters. Very, very small little details. Where are we sitting at? 8:03 p.m. We can get through this. I know we can. I just realized I did not work on the band on this guy's hat. So while this paint is still, it's not wet. This paint is not. Let's mix up a new batch of highlight tone. That's good right there. Get that nice medium highlight tone, very thin. We're going to try to highlight up this band. Run all the way around this lad. Somebody outside is using a leaf blower, and it is progressively irritating me more by the second. I know I complain a lot about the traffic and stuff, and the motorcycles and the noises outside, but sometimes I wonder if I got some kind of like noise sensitivity, because it absolutely drives me bonkers from time to time. Alright. Mixed in a little bit more of the ivory, and we're highlighting the front and the back. I'm going to mix in a little bit more ivory and kind of put it right at the little tippy-do of the front. What do we got left? We got this color, this brown to work on, and we got the black. Get the black. I think we're actually going to touch up that black real quick. And we'll do that off camera, because I don't need to show touching it up yet again. We'll do 1 drop of water. Make sure to hit the camera and shake the shot. That's really important. The process. Maybe you're just intolerant. Oh yeah, I fucking hate people. Absurd amount of noise today. It's like if I have the passing thought that, wow, that traffic is really annoying, it just intensifies. But it's a trade-off. I had to have the windows open because it's really, really warm in my apartment today, which is just the new norm. Of course, it's cooling off now, which I am super thankful for. We actually have a breeze coming in a little later than I'd expect. Usually the wind is kind of coming through. Historically, the wind would like start blowing down Van Ness around 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. Now it feels like it starts to cool off about 8 o'clock. And just warm in the city. And it's not particularly like hot, in so much as there's no air conditioning, and the buildings have all been made to hold in heat because it's a cold place. Place is going to shit, I tell you. All right, so we got our hat here. I think we're going to keep using the ivory to create a highlight on it, but we're going to mix in just the tiniest bit. We want to stick with this warm color. So we're going to hit record. We're going to show these two to the camera. We're going to show the black and the ivory. We're going to pull the palette over. We're going to hit focus on it. Grab a little bit of that. And a lot of bit of this. A lot of bit of this. Even more of this. We want this gray, basically an imperceptible change. Black hat. It's not a gray hat. And then we focus on this lad right here. Right here. And we will highlight up the raised areas of the hat. And we'll highlight the sides. And we'll leave some black in that dip right in the middle on either side. How much time we got? A little less than an hour. I think I can get these little lads done. And that way when we go into the next bit of content on these boys, it'll be working on the diorama. Or at least like the individual parts that will make up the diorama. I'll think about what's going to go into them over this week and print them off and ready for next Wednesday. I think after this project, I have another mech lance I'm going to do for someone. Should be really fun. It's close combat themed. So they should be a lot of fun. Some 3D prints. We'll get back to doing some mechs. That'll probably run a few weeks. And of course, we're still working on the urban mech video. I know that it's taking ages. And we're also still working on the Titania video, which is also taking ages, but we'll have some content out soon. Hearty thanks to y'all out there who have stuck around and enjoyed the Country Fried Minis content and show up for the streams. The channel has become more streaming platform. And I'm okay with that. I love these streams. Interacting with y'all is great. You're an hour. Is he making progress tonight? Be brutally honest. I think it's hard to tell because the guys are so small. Let's think about it. Let's quantify what has been done tonight. Let's take a moment. Alright, Leatherhide himself. We've done the stock and the grip on the gun. We've done the rope wrapped around the gun. We've done the hat now and the band around the hat. Our little lads, all four of them, we have highlighted up the skin flaps. We have deepened the shadows on their bellies. We have painted 3 out of 4 of the gun belts, and we've painted 3 out of 4 of the hats. What we have left now, we need to do this sombrero. Oh no, we painted 2 out of 4 sombreros. When you do these 2 sombreros, this one is flat earth and this one is Mornfang brown. We need to do this belt. And I think I see new colors in places. Yeah. It's a small amount of progress because these are small lads. I think next up is going to be a little bit of more on this buddy's belly. So, do I have Mornfang Brown out? I do not. I do not. Let's see if we get some nearby. A little bit of Mornfang Brown, and we'll highlight that up with, I think we'll use the Xandri dust again. This can go into that color pretty well, I think. I think that'll work. So we're going to show the chamomile. We're going to show it the Mornfang Brown, except it won't focus. So we'll do it again. Mornfang Brown, and then we'll do the unfocused when I pulled that up. Okay, here we go. We'll do it again. Do the Mornfang Brown. We'll do the Xandri dust. Can I get this in one shot? Are you telling me I can't open that? Jesus Christ. GW paint pots, why do you suck so fucking bad? Look at all this shit. Look at all that paint crusted around the rim. Absolutely asinine. Look, wasted paint. Not only is that wasted paint, but it makes the lid fit on less securely. Garbage. I was going to try to one-hand pop this for a shot, which I can't even do. Jesus criminy. Alright, we show these to the camera. We pop them up. We screw that up and we do it again. We show these to the camera. We pop them up. We fuck it up and do it again. We show this to the camera. We show this to the camera. We show this to the camera and we fail again. We show this to the camera and we pop them up. God, can I just fumble this 60 times for a silly shot? We show these to the camera. I'm open. And we show them to the camera. There we go. For fuck's sake. We're going to take our Mornfang Brown. Take our Mornfang Brown. We're going to set it down. We're going to take our Xandri Dust and we're going to set it down. These two colors. I'm going to make a gradient right in the middle. Make a nice little gradient, which y'all can't see at all because I've got this zoomed way in to work on these little layers. All right. Put this boy right here. We're gonna take our, what was I talking about before that loud ass car interrupted my train of thought? Oh yeah, Mornfang Brown. I'm gonna rub some on his belt. Rub a little bit on his belt. And then for some reason my white balance just like went to pure white for some reason. I'm gonna start rubbing on that lighter color. And even more of that lighter color. And I'm about to have to hit pause on this. About to have to hit the BRB screen and go shut the fucking window. Because that non-stop droning of whatever like industrial power tool is being used is driving me batty. There's two of them. Whatever they're doing, there's two of them. One second. Whatever it is, it's like of the exact volume and pitch that it just goes right through the windows, even with them closed. It's 8 o'clock at night. I'm pretty sure the noise ordinance kicks in at this point. But like, it's all I can hear. I've got music in my ears right now, and all I can hear is this fucking industrial power tools being used. I want it to stop. I still have a hair in my vision somehow. About to see a man snap, y'all. You're about to see a man snap. Whatever kind of power tool it is, it makes like the same pitch non-stop. It's not like going up and down with use. But whatever it is, it's very loud. And it has been going for about an hour now, non-stop, with no relent. I mean, you know, starting your construction project at 7 o'clock in the evening is perfectly fine and acceptable. Perfectly acceptable. It is a really very reasonable thing to do to start your construction using power tools at 7 o'clock in the evening. Yeah, they're just like, you're very neighborly. Very like, very good stuff. Really good. Really, really great. I'm trying so hard to block it out, you know. I'm trying so hard, but I'm about to have to end stream because I can't think, and I'm like uncontrollably rage filled at this fucking sound. I'm also like kind of struggling to think like what task could you be using a machine that goes for like fucking an hour nonstop? What could you be doing? The fuck are they doing? It's like as bad as a lawnmower. And then, of course, you know, beyond that, like, in what world is it acceptable to start your project at 7 o'clock in the evening? I hope that whoever is doing this right now at this time, I hope they get indigestion tonight. I hope they get fucking indigestion with their dinner. Bunch of assholes. You know, you say it could be the plumbers. It wouldn't be the first time that the plumbers have showed up No, it's I believe it's across the street over here. There is like there is a garage door open in the building across the street. And pretty sure the guys who own that building are a bunch of douche nozzles. So whatever they're doing, I think they have no concern for anyone else and could not care less. Sanding something or drilling. It's fucking mind-boggling. And I did shut the windows. But whatever it is of a volume and pitch that is just penetrating the windows just as bad as if they were open. All right, so where are we? I apologize, y'all. I'm sitting here steadily losing my mind by the second, trying to keep it focused and happy and cheery. Paint model. And yeah, it's like, it's bad. It has stopped for a moment. It has stopped. I hope it stays stopped. That would be very cool. Very cool if it stayed stopped right now. Alright, so we're doing the same thing we were doing earlier. We're just working on the next highlight tone down. That. Bunch of rinse and repeat, but for 3 different colors. You know the trope of like the old man. Hey, you damn kids, get off my lawn. That's me. That's me, y'all. Sawing concrete. Yeah, you know, I bet that's what it is. I bet that's what it is. It's sawing concrete. Though, you know, that they are starting at 7 o'clock in the evening suggests it is not a professional client situation, but probably the contractors doing work on their own building. So, I just ham-fisted that one pretty bad. So I'm going to try and blend it. There we go, though. Our little lad is now sombrerified. I think we want some mid-tone a little lower on that. There. Bring that mid-tone down and feather it, and then we'll go back to our lighter tone and rub it at the tippy top. Ah, it has started again in earnest. That actually makes me think all the more that it is sawing concrete. They have finished one of their cuts. Perhaps someone is being trained on how to use the concrete saw. You know, it's 7 o'clock at night. Excuse me, 8:30 at night. Emergency repairs also happen. This is true. This is true. do we have a belt that uses this color? Can't quite tell. I think this is Mournfang Brown right here. So let's take a little bit of water. We're gonna put a thin coat of the Mournfang Brown. We'll do that same thing here. I don't think that's Mournfang Brown. I don't think that's Mournfang Brown, but it's gonna be Mournfang Brown now. I think we use that flat earth here, but I think the flat earth is a little too flat for such a small brown detail. So we're gonna fill it out now. Man, it's funny. I'm sitting here thinking like emergency repairs do happen, but they don't happen in my building. They gotta wait around for Joel's Discount Plumbing to come through and do any repairs. Ah, yes, I agree. I can hear it and I can feel it. And it's making me very angry. Alright, so yeah, it looks like this particular belt was a darker brown that was not a GW color. I think it was flat earth. So we're just gonna push over it with this here Mournfang Brown. And we're gonna give it that same treatment. And I just got a whole bunch outside the lines. I'm really gonna try to quickly lift that up and off. Okay. Looks like it's got nice coverage. Let's hit it with a little bit of that. I can't. It needs to dry out. You know what? We're half hour early, but what I think I'm gonna do, gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Let's recap what we've done, because now I need this Mournfang Brown to dry out so I can hit it with an ink wash, and it'll be more of the same. So I think I'll do these in between now and next week. I also have one more hat to do, so it'll just be the same kind of process except with flat earth. And heck, that even looks like a mold line has been missed. Crazy how I couldn't see these mold lines at first, but now that they have paint on them, I can really see them. I wouldn't normally advise doing this for a model at this stage without reapplying primer, but these are not going to be handled once they're set up. So this lad needs his sombrero done flat earth. This guy needs his belt done up with some Agrex Earthshade, and then we'll build up the highlights on it, and then they need their guns done. I think we'll put a pin in this and get ready for next week. I'm going to go ahead and 3D print some parts where we can get in on the project. I'm still not 100% sure if I'm going to cut foam for this project, but I want to do a little diorama building. I think it'll be fun. Let's see. Mr. Leatherhide still needs his lips done up in like a nice pinky red color, and his eyes done. And the guns need washing. But they're just about ready to be installed on a diorama base. Their colors are very simple, but they'll look good once they're done. As always, I want to thank y'all for stopping by tonight. I cannot believe once more the viewership. Find this worth checking out. It brings me so much joy. It makes this part of the painting very fun, as much as I dislike the painting process. I find it can be time consuming and tedious. I know some people view it as like therapy, not, but yeah, it's so much better when y'all stop by. If you have any ideas for projects, don't hesitate to drop them in the comments down below, or join up over at the Country Fried Minis Discord over at the community. We're gonna have a few more streams this week. Check out the schedule over on countryfriedminis.com to stay appraised of upcoming streams. I've been populating that lately, and we'll have the Tabletop Tuesday coming around next week. We'll be gaming every other Tuesday in Tabletop Simulator, having a blast with the community. In any case, I'm about to lose my mind to the construction noises, so I'm going to call this, I can't focus. If you like what you see here, if you like hanging out, consider dropping a like down below. Join up as a channel member if you want to show monetary support for the channel. For as little as $1 a month, you can get a little badge next to your name and access to biscuit-based emojis, as well as priority consideration for joining up in the community streamed events. And of course, you can always just drop by and say howdy if you want. In any case, I think that's all I got for y'all this evening, and I'm going to prepare for some more editing in this week, and plenty more streaming coming, as well as some content at some point in the near future. Anyhow, lots of love. Catch y'all next time. Bye-bye.